Hey folks, if you're looking for a quick tip on how to start fires in the woods, whether it's windier conditions or semi-wet conditions, this video is going to be for you. Really, today's video is only going to be a couple minutes long. It's going to show you how to make these little instant little fire starters. Obviously, you're going to need some sort of a sparking device, whether it be a fire steel, ferro rod of some sort, even a lighter or matches, or just some way to get a spark going. So with that, today, I've got just a little fire steel. That's going to be the sparking device for today. The ignition source, and today all you need really is jute twine and then some sort of wax. It doesn't matter if it's candle wax, beeswax, or whatever. In this particular case, I just have some wax from my trapping supplies. So all you're going to do is you're going to shave some wax. You don't really need a lot of it. It just depends on what you're trying to do, and you're going to shave it, trying not to get it all over inside of your cook stove, but you're going to shave just enough. This one off my sleeve. So you'll have, basically that'll be enough to do what you got to do right here. You can see I have a little bit of residue in here from waxing before. So from there, all you're going to do really is you're going to get a fire going. You're going to take your wax chunks that you have inside of your little cook cup and set it down. Now be careful, because this is actually going to be, this cup's going to be really hot. Go figure, right? And once this melts, which shouldn't take long, you'll see it starting to melt now. All you're going to do is you're going to take and you're going to cut these, I don't know, probably about 1.5 inches long, give or take. Real easy to do, cheap. Jute's really cheap anyway. It's just a few bucks for like a couple 100-foot roll. So once this starts to really melt, here it's starting to work on it now. It does take a little bit of time. The flame on the right's a little hotter, so maybe I'll stick it over there for just a second. There. It's basically melted now. It's the liquid form right now. And all you're going to do, I can actually shut the stove off now. I don't need it on anymore. Because all you're going to do is you're going to take your jute, hold on to it pretty good here, not dropping it in there, and you're just going to basically soak the bottom half. Let me do it from this side so you can see a little bit better. You're just going to soak the bottom half. You're going to pull it out of there, and you'll see it's wet basically right to here. This bottom half here is soaked. Top half is dry, and I'm going to do the same thing with this other one. So I could just set this off somewhere to dry. Get just the bottom half. You'll see it sometimes start to bubble in there. Now that it's soaked in there pretty good, you're just going to pull it out and you're going to let that dry. It'll take probably, I don't know, 20 minutes, half hour, so to really firm up on the inside. But what you're going to end up with is a really solid, actually I have one here from earlier from me playing around, but you're going to end up with a real solid end here. Let me do it in the little GoPro camera here. You'll see it's really solid, but you'll be able to actually take and pull apart the top portion. Now this one here, I actually did a little bit too much. This one fell out of my hand and into the pot, so which is something that you want to avoid. But once you get that outer layer out, you'll see that this actually puffs up real nice, real fluffy stuff, and that's basically going to be your tinder. Or not your tinder, but what you're going to use to catch your spark. And I'll actually probably use this piece now that I've gotten it all fluffed up to show you how this continues. But this is going to be the spot right here that catches your spark. And then from there, I'm just going to move everything to the ground here and show you. This is going to be the spot that catches the spark. And ultimately what this does is acts as a wick. And if I take another little piece, here we go, cut this as well. And we're going to do a comparison, one that has not been dipped in the wax versus one that has been dipped, and you guys will kind of get an idea of the burn time of these, because both of them in of itself you can use to start a fire. Jute twine by itself has kind of a little bit of a fuel to it, but you still have to, either way, you have to break it apart. You got to really fluff it up nice, because it still has to catch the spark, and it still has to be able to hold a flame, and it still has to be able to have the air to capture the rest of it on fire. So one without the wax, one with the wax. Nothing more but jute twine. Let me move my GoPro mount. Alright, so here we are again, we're on the ground. And we've got our piece that doesn't have the wax. It's going to catch its fire, it's going to catch its flame, and it's actually going to go out pretty quick. I mean, it'll burn for a little bit, and then you've got the section here that has got the wax infused into it. Now watch the difference between the two. You'll see that the one that obviously doesn't have the wax, you can get it to keep burning for a little while just by moving it around, but it's not going to be enough to really make a difference. Whereas this one here, once it actually catches onto the wax portion of it, see, it's starting to smoke in here. That's just why you want to do this in a well-ventilated area, outside, in your garage. But this one's basically done. This one here, it's kind of going out on me a little bit. Fluff this up a little bit more again and try again. There. See if that makes a bit of a difference to catch that wax. Because ultimately that's what you need to do, is you need to ignite that wax. But once that wax is going, which it is now, you'll notice that it's going to have a lot more of a sustainable burn to it. You're going to have a lot more working time to actually get your little tinder bundle and stuff placed on top, and ultimately you actually got a little bit more time now to work. Let's just put it that way. The other one, you better have all your ducks in a row, stuff ready to go. Here, still got a flame. It's still working on catching the rest of that wax, and it's still burning pretty good. You still got a decent amount of it left over to burn as well. So I could sit here and probably burn this for probably 15-20 minutes, I bet. So, but yeah, there you go. Without, you got your jute twine without wax, jute twine with wax. Pretty simple, pretty easy to do. Again, you want to make sure that you're in a well-ventilated area when you do this. If not, you're going to have some issues with the smoke. And then this isn't just something that you can do with the jute twine either. You know, you can actually, I don't know if I have any in here or not. Yep, I do. I know my wax is actually about about rehardened, but you can also use like the facial wipes and stuff as well too, and these will actually pack down into a tin. So you just dip the bottom half in wax, you know, and then let that harden. And then basically what you got is you got your upper half that's going to be just your ignition source, so you'll fluff it up a little bit just to kind of make sure that it catches a spark. And this actually will burn pretty good by itself too. And then you got your bottom half that'll actually be, I don't know if I have any more wax in here or not. Nah, it's hard again. But same principle applies. So you can actually do jute twine. See, it's still burning pretty good. So we can still continue to add stuff to this and start to fire. So you've got plenty of time to work with. A matter of 30 seconds, minute, you know, several minutes. And same thing applies with this. You know, you got probably about 1.5 minutes, 2 minute burn time without jute with this one, if I remember right. Or not jute, but the wax, and you've got considerably more working time with the wax. So I'm going to continue to do some more of these smaller, short tips. If it's something that you actually enjoy watching, just let me know. My channel is primarily geared towards hunting and fishing and stuff like that, but occasionally I get people that ask me about different stuff. that are survival based. You know, they know I got a bit of a military background and a bit of a survival background, so I enjoy spending a lot of time out in the woods, and I think that being able to have a fire when you need a fire is a tremendous asset. So again, jute twine, cheap, comes in big rolls. You can catch them at a lot of your fabric stores and stuff. Really any kind of wax will work. I just happen to have trapping wax that I use for when I'm waxing my traps for canine and other stuff. And then just a fire steel or any kind of an ignition source, whether it be a fire steel, some other type of a ferro rod, or even a lighter, or matches, whatever. Just something to get a spark, and we'll go from there. So again, if you like what you've seen, just let me know. If not, let me know that too, and I'll custom tailor it towards a lot of my viewers' needs. So if there's anything else that you guys would like to see, again, let me know in the description. I'm going to be working on this. I'll be doing 24, 48, and 72-hour survival videos coming up in the very near future as well. You know, I know one of the videos I got coming up is going to be, a lot of people see these little 1 or 2 person survival heat sheet, survival blanket deals. They are thin. They're basically just a Mylar deal. I'm going to be testing out these and see how reliable they actually are in a 24 and a 48-hour survival situation. So they are cheap space blankets. I'll probably freeze my ass off, but at least you guys will get a chance to see if they work. And this is a perfect opportunity to test it. We got still inclement weather here in Minnesota. It's what, the March 19th, so still cold. I'm going to start a fire with my stuff here out in the woods, and I'm going to be testing one of these Mylar blankets or space blankets and see if I can actually avoid freezing to death. So if you like what you see, subscribe, like it, all that good stuff. See you on the next one.